Rain lashes down on the Black Snake sect as screams echo through the night. The sect members are being slaughtered by a single intruder they call the Nameless Hero. But this man brings death, not salvation. The sect leader stands his ground and confronts the attacker. He mocks the intruder, asking why a so-called hero is hiding his face. The intruder answers with a chilling truth. He states, simply replying that he is not a hero. He says that he never fooled anyone. People just chose to believe what they wanted. The leader freezes as he realizes the reality. This isn't a warrior of justice. This is a monster. The intruder smiles beneath his mask and slays the sect leader. The real hunt begins. The scene shifts to a massacre. The Manhwa sect is destroyed. A single man stands amidst the ruin. Leaders from the major factions, Shaolin, Qingqing, Wudong, and the Namgong family, arrive at the scene. They are shocked. They cannot believe that the prestigious Manhwa sect has been annihilated by just one person. A wounded survivor stumbles forward. He confirms that the man standing there did this alone. The sect leaders are furious. They demand to know who this monster is. The man stands casually among the corpses. He scratches his head, looking bored. He speaks to the gathered masters. He says he came here because he heard Manhwa was the strongest. He looks at the new arrivals. He assumes that since they came in a swarm, they must be stronger than the ones he just killed. A sect leader shouts in anger. He swears to kill this man and appease the souls of the dead. The leaders attack all at once. However, the man dodges them easily. He is disappointed. Suddenly, the world freezes. Text appears describing Murim Online, a virtual reality game known for its extreme violence and realistic bloodshed. The man thinks to himself that there is no game quite like this. He decides he should try a quieter approach next time. The digital world fades away. A news report plays on a television. It announces that CEO No of Dito Industries is missing. In a dark, concrete basement, a man is tied to a chair. He is trembling. He begs for his life. The player, Bong-Su, stands over him. He holds a heavy hammer. The tied man cries that he didn't do anything wrong. He asks how Bong-Su could do this to him. Su looks down coldly. He tells the man that if he truly hadn't done anything, he wouldn't have become prey. Photographs are scattered on the floor. They show the tied man torturing women. The man continues to beg. He claims he is reflecting on his actions. He is tired of hearing the phrase, "Spare me." He swings the hammer. Violence fills the room. Bong-Su attacks without mercy. He tells the man he is dead meat. The victim screams and tries to crawl away. He yells that he doesn't want to die. He says most humans are herbivores, but among them, there are carnivores who hunt the weak. Bong-Su declares that he is the hunter who hunts those carnivores. Suddenly, bright lights blind him. The police have arrived. A detective points a gun at him and orders him to freeze, and arrests him for kidnapping and murder. He points at the beaten man on the floor. He tells the detective that the man is a serial killer who murdered 6 women. He explains that the corpses wrapped in plastic against the wall are also murderers. He tries to reason with the police. He says these men are beasts, and he is just a hunter catching them. The detective does not care. He lights a cigarette. He tells Bong-Su that he only sees a psychopathic killer. Bong-Su realizes he cannot communicate with them. He grips his weapon. The police yell for him to freeze. A gunshot rings out. He thinks that if there is a next life, he wants to go to a place where he can kill beasts without worrying about the law. He wishes for a place like the Murim. Bong-Su wakes up gasping for air. He is confused. He definitely heard the gun go off. A large, angry man stands over him. He shouts at Bong-Su for slacking off. The man complains about how hard it was to drag him from the marketplace. Bong-Su looks at his hands. This is not his body. He is thin, weak, and covered in old scars. He looks around the room. He recognizes the architecture. A wide, maniacal smile spreads across his face. His wish has come true. A blue system window appears before his eyes. It welcomes player Bong-Su to Murim Online. The smell of horse manure fills the air. A man named Dong-O shouts at a trembling boy named So-Sam. So-Sam stammers that he hasn't finished cleaning the stables. Dong-O looks at him with disgust. He tells So-Sam to follow him immediately because he has a job for him. He reminds the boy that he is essentially a slave to the Danri clan. Outside, an old man asks why Dong-O is alone. He asks where Matchel is. Dong-O dismissively explains that Matchel is drinking at the inn. The old man points to a pile of heavy weapons. He doubts the two of them can move them alone. Dong-O grins. He points at So-Sam and calls him a perfect beast of burden. He kicks So-Sam and orders him to get to work. Suddenly, Dong-O acts as if he just remembered an appointment. He claims he also needs to go to the inn. He leaves the heavy work entirely to So-Sam and walks away. Later, the work is done. The old man looks at So-Sam with pity. He tells the boy to rest because he looks like someone who is about to die. So-Sam walks through the cold night. He wonders if he really wants to drag out this pathetic life. Suddenly, he bumps into a massive warrior named Peng Duriang. The large man shouts angrily and demands So-Sam get out of his way. Violence follows. So-Sam lies on the ground, beaten and broken. He thinks back to when his family died in a storm, and he became the only survivor. He regrets knocking on the Danri clan's gate to survive. The cold takes him. He begs to be saved. The protagonist wakes up in the stable. He processes the memories he just saw. He realizes the boy's name was So-Sam. He understands the situation. The real So-Sam was beaten to death, and he has taken over the empty body. A blue system window appears in the air. It welcomes him to Murim Online, the world of the truly strong. He recognizes the status window from the game. Dong-O is back in the stables. He is furious. He shovels manure and complains that he is the only one who has to do this work. He blames So-Sam for bumping into Peng Duriang and causing trouble. He believes a great man, like himself, shouldn't have to clean up after a half-wit. He considers killing So-Sam himself, but decides the risk is too high. Dong-O kicks the stable door open. He yells at So-Sam, calling him a useless moron for staying alive. Inside, the protagonist sits calmly. He notes that it has been 2 weeks since he woke up. He has spent this time analyzing his new reality. First, the people use Chinese characters, but this isn't China. He watches warriors training in the distance. They fly through the air and move faster than the eye can see. He realizes the martial arts in the game are a living reality here. Second, only he can see the system interface. He looks at his stats: strength, intelligence, and vitality. He knows this isn't simulation. The people here have emotions. They're alive. Dong-O interrupts his thoughts. He mocks the protagonist for living a high life while he got punished. He grabs the protagonist by the collar. He threatens to kill him. The protagonist's eyes turn cold. He grabs a sharp shard of broken pottery from the floor. With a swift motion, he slashes Dong-O's throat. Blood gurgles from Dong-O's neck. The protagonist whispers into his ear. He says that Guac Dong-O, the kid he used to know, died a long time ago. Dong-O collapses and dies. The protagonist stands over the body. He feels the heat of the blood. He realizes it doesn't matter if he is a human or a player. This world operates on the law of the jungle. He smiles. In this place, he doesn't have to hide his true nature. He decides to hunt to his heart's content. He declares that the true predators will roam freely in this new Murim. As soon as his body recovers, the hunt begins again. The protagonist stands over the lifeless body of Dong-O. Normally, a weak target like this wouldn't be worth hunting, but he needs to verify something. He activates his inventory skill. He notices a difference immediately. In the game Murim Online, the inventory was a grid-based system where items took up slots. But here, it is one massive, open dimension. It looks to be at least 300 square meters. He decides to test it. He commands the system to store the body. Instantly, the corpse vanishes. The protagonist smiles. This is an incredibly useful feature. A dark thought crosses his mind. He wonders if he can store living things inside this void as well. He wonders if they would stay alive, or if they would suffocate. He decides he will need to experiment more later. Time passes. The other stable master, Matchel, arrives. He shouts at the protagonist. He calls him a mute bastard and asks why he is slacking off. The protagonist plays his role perfectly. He stammers and acts terrified. Machel orders him to take the horse for a walk. He complains about having to deal with a brat who can't even speak properly anymore. Machel strikes the protagonist violently. As the protagonist works, village children gather around to mock him. They chant Mute So-Sam and they throw rocks and laugh, calling him an idiot who can't do anything. The protagonist endures it all in silence. Later, Machel sits alone, complaining about his workload. He is annoyed that Guak Dong-o hasn't shown his face in days. He wonders if the man dropped dead somewhere. Suddenly, the protagonist steps out from the storage area. Machel is shocked. The boy has finished all the work for him. He notices a change. The boy is fast and efficient. The protagonist approaches Machel and holds out a heavy pouch. Machel opens it and sees money. He laughs loudly. He praises the boy for finally learning how the world works. He tells the protagonist to keep this up from now on. The protagonist bows his head submissively. But inside his mind, he mocks the man. He thinks that Machel is a moron who doesn't realize he is paying for his own funeral. Machel heads straight to the inn with his new wealth. He decides that today, his pockets are full enough for something special. He arrives at the Banyang Inn and calls for the server. Usually, he calls for a girl named Yang. But today, he demands Chosen. The server is skeptical until Machel flashes the cash. The server bows and directs him to the last room on the second floor. Machel enters the room excitedly. Chosen, a beautiful woman, waits for him inside. Machel thinks she is on a whole different level from the usual girls. She offers to pour him a drink. Machel laughs, drunk on power and money. He comments on her lovely hands and asks her to come closer. He has no idea that the money paying for this luxury is the price of his life. The server at the inn grumbles to himself. He is disgusted that Machel chose a girl young enough to be his daughter. But he shrugs it off. Money is money. Suddenly, he notices a new arrival at the entrance. It is So-Sam. The server sneers. He recognizes a mute and asks him if he even knows where he is. He aggressively tells So-Sam to get lost. So-Sam silently hands over the money he took from Machel. The server's attitude changes instantly. He smiles and directs So-Sam to the second room from the end of the hall. He promises to bring a girl named Yang to him right away. Inside the VIP room, Machel lies in bed. He is arrogant. He tells himself that he still has it. Suddenly, he is choked. A hand crushes his windpipe. He gasps for air. He tries to curse his attacker, but he is powerless. The life drains from his eyes. The protagonist stands over the corpse. He activates his skill, store an inventory. Instantly, Machel's body vanishes. The protagonist is satisfied. He notes that it was a good thing he practiced using the inventory earlier. He realizes this skill will be a huge help for his future hunts. A blue system window appears in the air. The protagonist checks his status. He sees a notification, experience gained. He understands the mechanics now. Killing people in this world grants experience points. Once that experience builds up, he can level up. Leveling up makes him stronger, and being stronger makes hunting easier. And as hunting becomes easier, he will gain experience even faster. A dark realization hits him. In this place, he can become infinitely strong. He looks up with a twisted expression. He declares that this is a truly wonderful world. He looks around the empty room. He thinks it is a pity he doesn't have a camera to capture the scene. Outside in the hallway, the server returns with Yang. He knocks on So-Sam's door and scolds the girl for being late. He tells her to get inside, reminding her that a paying customer is still a customer, even if he is a mute. Yang apologizes and enters the room. The server turns his attention to Machel's room. It is completely silent. He wonders what is taking so long. He jokes to himself, asking if they are moving in together. He knocks and calls out to Brother Machel and Chosen. There is no answer. Annoyed that they are ignoring him, he decides to enter. He opens the door. A terrified scream echoes through the inn. The server stands frozen in the doorway, staring at the horror inside. He stammers Machel's name in shock. The story shifts to the Anhui province. a region rich in trade but plagued by thieves. To combat this, the Danri clan established specialized forces, the Crossheaven Sword Division for combat and the Black Crow Squad for intelligence. Inside the Black Crow Squad headquarters, Squad leader G.I. Dehyo is reviewing documents with a grim expression. He notes a disturbing trend. Nearly 100 people have committed suicide in the past few months. He finds it suspicious that the evidence in every single case perfectly points to suicide without a single flaw. He asks about the first victim. His subordinate reports it was Ma Chil, an armory artisan from their own clan, who died at the Phoenix Tavern. Determined to find the truth, G.I. Dehyo decides to visit the scene personally. At the Phoenix Tavern, G.I. Dehyo examines a room where Ma Chil was found hanging. He looks for any way a killer could have entered. He checks the ceiling logs, realizing they can provide entry if removed, but they are firmly set in the grooves of the beams. It is physically impossible to remove them without dismantling the roof. Dehyo asks if anyone was in the room next door. The subordinate confirms there was another guest, Sosam, a servant from the Danri clan. Meanwhile, Sosam is walking alone, analyzing his status window. He realizes that the man he killed recently gave him more experience points than previous victims because he was a martial artist. He calculates his next move. A full-fledged martial artist is still too strong for him right now. He needs to find bridge prey, targets stronger than commoners but weaker than trained warriors. Suddenly, a group of street thugs blocks his path. They recognize him as Sosam the loser and mock him for ignoring them. Sosam stares at them coldly. He wonders if he should kill them all and hide the bodies in his inventory to stage a suicide, but decides against it to avoid making a scene in broad daylight. He decides to endure their harassment for now and kill them later. A large, imposing man named Django steps forward. He isn't interested in Sosam. He eyes Sosam's horse with greed. Django decides to take the horse as a gift for the Dark Society leader. Sosam senses blatant killing intent. He realizes Django plans to kill him just to steal the horse. Sosam thinks to himself that Django has chosen the wrong prey. Django mocks Sosam, noticing his silence. Sosam finally mocks him in, his voice flat and cold, asking to just kill him. Why bother asking twice? Django is shocked that the mute can talk. In that split-second confusion, Sosam whispers, "Inventory." A heavy chain materializes from thin air. With a brutal crack, Sosam whips the chain, smashing Django's head instantly. Django collapses dead. A system message appears before Sosam, telling that it has been upgraded to level 2. The remaining thugs scream in terror, realizing their leader was killed in a heartbeat. Panic erupts as they shout to either run or kill the demon standing before them. Sosam stands amidst the chaos, ready for the slaughter.